upstairs to switch off the Wi-Fi on their phone, and then
We are live.
Sure, you switch off. Switch off the Wi-Fi.
So, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to our second edition of the assumptions about marriage. So, in our last edition, we did explain that the assumptions around marriage and what it is and what it is meant to be usually distort what relationships should be. Sometimes you might have something very good but because of the assumptions that we have that come from different backgrounds, tradition, environments, experiences, we might destroy that something that is really good. So today, hello?
We can hear you. I can hear you at least.
Okay. So today I have the privilege of having two guests. We were supposed to have three guests, but unfortunately, one of our guests has other pressurizing issues to attend to, but we would definitely add her to our next segment. So for today, we have our very own Mr. Coach Steady Divine. He's a transformational speaker, he's a life coach, he's a mentor, he's an influencer, he's a relationship expert, he's an entrepreneur. And last time he was with us on this very same first edition, and we got a lot of input from him. And today we also have my auntie, Auntie Fales Tembo, and Auntie Fales is the executive director for Zambia National Traditional Councillors. She has experience in entrepreneurship development. She is a senior administrative officer. She is a wife and a mother to three amazing children. And today we have a diverse
participation.
View. Yes, participation from two sides. So from the male side, from the female side, I think this is something that is very, very good for us. And we are definitely looking forward to this new segment. So welcome, please. Welcome, everybody. Welcome, Coach Steady. Welcome, Auntie Fales.
Thank you so much. It's good to be back.
Yes.
Thanks for having me, Mwaka.
Yeah, you are all welcome, and thank you so much for sparing your time and your evening for us right now. Yeah, so because of time, I think we should just get right straight into it. Yeah. So we have different assumptions listed today, and some of the first assumption really is something that is related to a biblical assumption. And this is the assumption that is sex before marriage is a sin. Yes. So I will give this very good question to Mr. Steady Divine. So sex before marriage, from a Catholic background, and we have been taught that it is not allowed to have sex before marriage, and but it still happens. It still happens. Does it mean that when you have sex before marriage, the marriage might not work? Does it mean, how do you explain the essence of sex before marriage? Why is this assumption something that could be the essence of this assumption?
Well, thank you so much for that question, and it's good to be with you guys tonight, sitting in between the beautiful ladies.
Good to be here. Thank you.
So I like to say that any product that has been designed for a purpose. you don't get a Nokia phone and use a Samsung manual on a Nokia phone. So whatever you work around, whatever you design, whatever you prepare, you must understand that there's always a designer and the creator of sex, out there, and whatever we have on us have been designed by someone specifically. So every time you speak about sex before marriage, it's always a conversation. I like to say that God is not a Democrat. You don't go to parliament and debate about an idea that God has designed and put aside. So you don't go and debate, say, God, today I feel like this is what I need to do with my body that you created. You designed my body this way, but today I feel I want to go.
Okay, you're breaking. I hope I'll be able to catch up as we go. You're really breaking.
Can you hear me now?
So I just hope I'm going to catch up. Now I can, yes, but you're breaking.
Is it clear now, Mwaka? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
It's clearer now.
Oh, yeah. So let's stop me when I'm breaking, because we want to make sure that people get across and get. Yeah. So is it okay now?
Yeah, it's fine now. It's okay.
Okay, Mwaka, can you hear?
Mwaka, are you able to hear that?
Mwaka looks like she's freezing.
She's freezing. She's out of the conversation completely. Mwaka. See, Zambia is better. Has always been better than, I don't want to mention countries here. Zambia has always been better.
Mwaka, can you hear us? So we want to make sure the host is able to hear us. And please, guys, I know there's people that are watching. Please do us a favor. Type in when you're able to hear us. If you have any questions, there's a provision, out there. The host has jumped out, so I think she's gonna refresh.
I think let's continue. Yeah, she still has the answer on the floor. So let's continue.
So for everyone that is able to put your comment out there, please do me a favor, just put your comments there, and when you're able to hear us, if there's any feedback, let us know. So the design for sex has been designed by God. So there's nothing that is been designed by God that each and every person will have to go and debate about what needs to be done and what needs to be worked on. So there's a trend among our generation of wanting to do things our way and our own design. But the consequences are inevitable. And I like to tell people, in as much as there's
would you like to elaborate when you say inevitable?
Come again?
Would you like to just elaborate when you say inevitable? It would be nice to have an elaboration of that.
Oh, okay. Did I say the consequences?
Mwaka, welcome back.
What was that all about? Oh my God.
So when we say Zambia is the real Africa, that's what we mean.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Are you sure, Mwaka?
Yeah.
That was
yeah,
and just
that was something. That was something.
Me and Fallis, we are on.
We've been on, no interruption at all. But you, where we assume you have better internet, welcome back. Yeah.
I swear, Zambia is the real Africa.
So you see, please come back home. Yeah. So we proceed. You were still on the floor. You were.
I was able to hear you clearly.
Okay, so I can go on?
Yes, go on.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I don't.
Yes. So you were speaking about.
Yeah. Go on.
Go on, please, Eddie.
Please go on.
Yeah. So I think in a nutshell, for me, I like to say, sex is a beautiful creation and design, but it has been designed by God. So he calls the shots on what an excellent sex life looks like, and an excellent sex life looks like, two people coming together in marriage and enjoying
everything, including sex.
Yeah, and I also like to say that what really shocks me the most is that I think now sex is more discussed among the singles,
Yeah.
And I like to say that, you see, sex is not the main meaning in a marriage. Sex is only dessert. So we spend more time discussing dessert instead of discussing the main meaning of the marriage. So a lot of people, their minds are tuned into, oh, sex is everything, when it's
Yeah.
only dessert. I think that's what I like to say on that one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Mwaka seems to be freezing again. Can you hear us, Mwaka? Are you able to get what we're saying?
Yes.
Yeah, it looks like freezing again.
This is ridiculous. Anyway,
I'm
so
glad
as you have
that Zambian internet was accused, but this is a sign
You
that Zambian.
know?
okay,
Yeah,
so as you
yes,
have explained, sex before marriage is something that God has given us, and it should be
yeah.
taken care of as something special. Yeah. So, Antifales, what do you think about this? What are your views about sex before marriage? Why do you feel people should wait to marriage for them to
For them to have
have?
sex.
Yes. Don't
Okay,
they
you know?
consequences of some mixed functionalities once they do get married, and then they find out that, oh man, I should have done a
Expected
tryout.
more.
Yes, or like,
Mm.
yes, what if you do get married and the sex is not
Sex
as
is not as
amazing?
expected.
Yes,
Ah,
as
okay.
it's.
To begin with, I want to say that I'm glad that now we have platforms where we can discuss sex openly, because in the past, discussing sex was almost a taboo.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm glad that now we have all these platforms where young women, young men can get to learn about issues to do with sex. I think it's very important. Now, before I get to answer your question straight on, I just want to indicate that you started by saying that we want to look at it from a biblical point of view. If you look at the
Yes.
Bible, from Genesis to Revelations, there's no clear cut that will say do not have sex before marriage. It will not say anything like that. But the book of Deuteronomy in 22 reads that if a woman who is not married has sex, she is defiled. I suppose we know that. And one of the 10 commandments, commandments indicate that adultery, we shall not commit adultery. So those are clear cuts from the Bible. So us being a Christian nation, we should be able to pick that leaf and apply it practically. But I want to say that that does not mean that we should not discuss sex with our children. Because one of the reasons why today children do not want to know when sex comes their way, they don't know what to do, is because we do not discuss sex with them. Sex has been labeled as a taboo.
Yeah.
Okay? So having said that, I want to say that sex before marriage, especially for Christians, I will not talk about other religions because I'm not very sure what their holy books talk about. But as for Christians, the Bible is very clear that you will not defile a woman who is not your wife, and that we
Mm-hmm.
shall not commit adultery as one of the 10 commandments. Okay?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, I want us to realize the fact that the assumptions we are talking about in this discussion are as a result of culture. And
Yes.
if you had to define culture, you get to know that culture is simply a way of life, isn't it?
Yeah.
So the assumptions that we have surrounding sex and marriage have to do with the way of life for a particular community.
Yes.
So in some communities, people are seen to be doing and discussing sex freely because of their way of life,
Right.
because of the way they are brought up from childhood to where they are when it's time to practice sex. But
Mm-hmm.
for us here back home, I want to indicate that for us, it's clear that whether we talk about tradition, we talk about cultural values, it still it takes us back to the fact that we are not going to have sex before marriage. So now, whether children are having or not having is another issue.
Yeah.
But the clear cut is that we will not have sex before marriage. So my take is that, like I am a parent. Am I not? I am.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to marry off my child to somebody and find out they're not virgins. For every parent, their wish is that they marry off a virgin. And standing on those grounds, I want to indicate that, yes, for me, I want to say that no sex before marriage. Though practically we know that young women are doing it. They're having sex before marriage. But we're not going to run away from the principle because people are doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many things, and social media now just it makes it look normal, it makes it look like it's okay to be sexual, it's okay to practice. It is so old-fashioned to keep your virginity,
not to have sex. Yes.
Yes, like, what are you waiting for, so that is something that is very, very vital. And really the question that I would want to ask for other people is why we wait? It's one thing just saying the Bible says so.
Yes. Why do you want? Okay, maybe Coach can take it up. I'll pick it up as we go.
Like, why? And then
what are you speaking as though you're already doing it?
No, I want to know why shouldn't I have it? I have heard that it is nice. I have been
and maybe you are practicing.
You see? So why shouldn't I? Why shouldn't I? What would you tell me? Why should we keep our virginities? Why should we hold on? Why should my boyfriend and I just
not have sex
and hug each other and tell each other, let's wait, my dear?
Okay. Can I come in more on that?
Please go on now. I'll pick it up later.
So I like how and Phyllis broke it down for us when we're having a conversation about sex. One of the challenges I also have in the church circles and the Christian circles is that I think sometimes we're so heavenly minded that we're actually useless. So we are not practical when we're having conversations about relationships. This is why you notice that even in the church circles, there's a lot of these things happening, but people are not able to have a conversation because somebody, like what you said, Mwaka, you're saying, why shouldn't I do the reason? Why shouldn't I be able to do this thing? I'm going to give you some practical experiences with coaching people. One of the things that I can realize, Mwaka, especially for young women, I like to say one thing, and because I have counseled and I've coached a lot of young people, especially the young women as well, is one of the things I've said over and over for young women, it is better for you to wait. Because a man will do anything to get laid. A man will chase you.
I hope you can still see me. I'm so tired from the other angle. Yeah.
Yes, we can see you.
Are you still able to see me?
Yes, we can see.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So a man will chase you until he gets what he wants. And sometimes women feel like when a man is chasing you, then he really loves you. Sometimes he just loves what he gets out of you from the body, your body. So even just come back to a place of being just realistic, it's always good to have an understanding. I see a lot of young women that were told, I love you, and that shouldn't stop me from having sex. And the moment the woman got pregnant, the guy dodged.
Because he had had enough of it. He wanted to taste a different dish, probably.
Yeah. And then guys like to say, why should I buy the cow if I can milk it for free?
That has been milked already.
Exactly. So most of the time, premarital sex works mostly against women. And I'm not trying to say men can have sex and get away with it. But always, I like to tell women, do whatever you can to make sure you close your legs until he puts a ring. And I like to say, if he says he's gonna marry you, shouldn't that be the more reason why he should wait? Because I'm gonna have it when I get. Why is a man always in a hurry to have the sex if he says he loves you and he wants to put a
Why
ring on
can't he wait?
Yeah, because if you're gonna marry this woman, you should be able to say that you wed. And then even in Islam, even just for Muslims, sex is
You are
discussed.
Muslim.
No, no, no. I have Muslim friends.
I
I have Muslim friends that when you have a conversation about sex, they always say that is not allowed to have sex before marriage. If there's gonna be sex, it's gonna be in that context. So
Yeah.
I think for me, it's not just about telling people don't do. It's about teaching people that when you wait to have sex, you take time to get to know each other. I am in love with you as a person, not for what we can do under the sheets. So delaying sex is not just because God sits on the throne in heaven with a huge whip to be able to kwapula you. No, 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 no. He does it for us. It is for our benefit. And God says, I want you to wait to have sex. And I have seen it over and over, most of the times once the sex is done. And then I like to tell people, because there's always this thing, what if it's not good when I get married? Or what if
It
I
is
want
good when you cross to the other side.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
I think, and I think it's also just having honest conversations. And I like to say to when I'm speaking in church circles, I like to tell young Christians, and just not young but older, that are single in relationships. It's always good to speak to your partner. You are beautiful, you are sexy, you turn me on. How do we help each other to stay faithful till the end? This thing of saying I'm in the spirit, I'm not feeling the hormones, it's not right. It's wrong.
Okay.
If you see her legs, if you see her thighs, you're able to say, you know what, you really turn me on. You know what I'm trying to say? But how are you gonna help me? So I don't want us to be too spiro. You see the woman and you say, no, I don't feel anything. No, you have to be honest.
But you shouldn't sound like a pastor today. Don't make whoever is listening assume sex is not good. Don't sound like you're at church. Let's give proper guidance here because you enjoy it. I want to say this. I want to say, that's true, isn't it? Because he's sounding more of a pastor now. He's making us feel, almost holding the Bible and singing praises. I like one of I am a follower of one of the pastors from Nigeria. I won't mention names. And I like what the wife at one time said. He says to us, somebody was getting married and he was just reminding them of their roles. Are you able to hear me now?
I can hear you, but
Are you
I
able
can't see
to
you.
get? You can. You can't see me. Are you able to see me now?
Now I can. Yes.
Yeah. So I was saying that I don't want to join coach and speak like a pastor today because when people talk about sex, they want to look holy, sound holy. I don't want to be like coach. Coach, I'm out of the game. I want to just say the truth now. Sex is good, you understand, especially when you cross over and you're married. It's expected that you should enjoy sex. And I hope we'll get to some point in the conversation where we're going to talk about enjoying this sex we're discussing today. But to answer Mwaka's question, to say why shouldn't she have sex before she's married? Like I said earlier, every parent wants to package their child. I'm not going to talk about sons now, but maybe later we'll talk about sons. But I want to talk about a daughter who obviously, if she's not a virgin, the whole world will know. It's a pride of every mother to package a virgin and give away a virgin. It's unfortunate that today we have standardized things and we think that it's okay to have sex. After all, even if he doesn't marry me, another man will still marry me. So to answer your question, number one, it has to do with the value that you give yourself as a woman, as a young woman, the value that you're going with into this marriage, which is a beautiful thing. You understand? The value that your parents are going to place on you. So now when I talk about the value, I'm not talking about value in monetary terms, that how much are they going to charge to marry you off? No. I'm talking about the value they are giving away, the human in you. the woman in you they're giving away. So number one, the pride of these parents that are giving away you as a young woman is the fact that they know that you are well cultured. They know that you are well natured. So why you shouldn't have sex is number one, because as Africans, if there's anything that we value so much, is self-respect. It's different from the way things are where you are in India. We still remain Africans, and we have certain values that make up us as women kuno back in Africa.
It's also
So
the
that's
same
why.
here. They really take it seriously. They will stone you to death if they have laws here that are really strict on such things. So they are also very, very strict on that. But in conclusion, with everything that I've gotten, from a man's perspective, men should be able to allow in a relationship to show a woman to say, I will wait for you. It is their part to show that I'm going to be patient with you. I want you so bad I can wait, I'll be patient. And for a woman, it is also very fulfilling to see that there is a man who is not just interested in your body, but he's interested in developing something with you, And so this is very fulfilling, and at least I hope someone out there gets it. So just jumping straight into the next assumption, it's the assumptions about dowry. So where I come from in Zambia, we usually pay dowry. Yes, dowry is a sign of it can be cows from our Tonga land. It depends what tradition you are from, and it's
look at the way coach is looking at you.
Is Tonga.
Yes, like so, hello, are you still part of us?
Dowry. The assumptions around dowry. So dowry is something that is a traditional assumption, and it's been there from time immemorial. It's a sign of appreciation given to the woman's families to say thank you for raising this lady and all that. But these days, it's been commercialized. People are charging extravagant prices. They're starting businesses from dowry, and there's
I don't want to laugh. I'm trying very hard.
I can't wait to hear what you want to hear. I'm just waiting for you.
No, I'm not going to say first. You're going to go first.
No.
And then other than that,
yes,
there are some prices of dowry, or there are some demands that are made by a woman's family side, and maybe at that moment in time, maybe the man is even a very good guy, but at that moment in time, he might not be in a position to pay that sort of money or gift the family that sort of monies and all that. And for some families and some relationships, they break because of dowry. Like dowry is something very vital, and it breaks. It breaks and sometimes makes relationships. So I would like to hear, what do you have to say about these assumptions about dowry? Auntie Phyllis, please go ahead.
Mwaka, I can see you want me to start. Okay, I will go first. Look at how happy coach is. Yeah. So, it still takes us back to ways of life. Here in Africa, particularly Zambia, it's not like where you are now, Mwaka, where a woman pays dowry. I hope it is the assumption there. Or is it an assumption also? Maybe that's not the truth. Yeah.
It is true.
It is true, isn't it? Back here, we value dowry a lot. And it's another way, actually, of discouraging people from cohabiting. This tendency of just, we've seen a lot of that happening today, where court should, because he likes the way you look and whatnot, instead of going through what we call kukonkanjira, he'll go through the window, just kick you, you disappear. Mom and dad back home will be assuming you're living with your friend, you're sharing a flat, and yet no, you're living with coach. And marriage starts that way. And parents back home here in Zambia, Mwaka, I want to say that they do not cherish that. It's always been tradition. For me, I always want to refer to our tradition, no matter how educated we get. It's always been tradition that as Africans, particularly here in Zambia, if you want to marry a woman, follow the correct channel. Go to the parents, let them charge you. After all, that's why we have those men we come with. They are going to help negotiations, looking at whether you have the ability to pay this amount they are going to charge you. So the chivo companies are going to be there. Why do we do that? Are we selling off this daughter? No, we are not. We are just being proud that this Mupongos Wamena Buera, this man who is marrying our child, is following what is expected of him to follow, the culture that we value so much. And in the recent past, we've been crying, actually we've been saying, why are we running away from our culture? And one of the reasons that people have been saying that is because people have moved away from following the correct channel to just cohabiting and calling that marriage. So number one, having said that, I just want to say that, yes, it's important that your husband-to-be pays dowry to mommy and dad back home. And Mwaka, for you, I want to tell you that I'm going to make a follow-up and make sure that that man does what he's supposed to do, even if you be there.
Yes.
Yeah, so yes, it's important for dowry to be paid because for us, it's culture. And like I said earlier, culture is a way of life. So there's the way we live, and things can't just break like that because there's technology, because there's these new books we are reading. Culture will not just be broken like that. So dowry, yes, is part of our way of life. It's part of culture and gives us pride as we marry off our child. I want to quickly say this. I know we don't have much time. I want to quickly say that, it's different from what we are seeing now also. It's important that we point out the fact that people are almost selling out their children now. They are selling off their daughters. They are going commercial in charging this dowry. In the past, it could even be chabe mbuzi bapeleka because they are never charging. But now people have gone this way. Thing of converting the ngombe into money has gone extra miles. That we should indicate that no, that's not the idea. The idea there was just the pride of giving away this child, and because this man is appreciating, you for having kept this child the way you did, they are paying something. So we should not go commercial, knowing very well that it's just a way of life and not commercializing the whole thing. Full stop. I end there.
And from your side, Eddie, what do you think about dowry? Do you think you should pay for a woman's hand in marriage?
I think she really answered. I think she answered it the right way, because I think the bone of contention as well is on how much the commercialized part of the dowry is. They're always telling you, our daughter went to school as if you just, like you just came from the market. So it kind of feels like, it's a transaction, it's a business deal. I'll never forget my sister, my little older sister, missed out on a marriage because my uncles overcharged and they were not. So and it's sometimes these things have got consequences. I don't have a problem to honor my in-laws. I have a problem you treating me like a business deal. Okay, so if you look at me as a business transaction, if you look at me as a business deal, I have a problem, because already that is telling me. This is why we always say it's always good to look into families you marry into, because for me, lobola dowry is a way. I'll never forget my aunts from my mom's side. My cousin was getting married, and I remember my auntie saying, "No. And them to can be the course." Mwaka doesn't understand.
She does. Have you forgotten Nyanja completely? Yeah, she does.
Because it's like something about my family. They understood why my cousin was getting married. She's getting married because she's going to build a home. This is not a business deal. And I'm happy that people like you and Fallacy that run organizations like that, have a mindset like that, because that helps our generation have that mindset. People to understand that when you come into your house, there's many other houses that they can go into, but they picked your house. So don't discredit your house by making it. Our daughter went to university. Our daughter has got this thing.
She went to school. She's got a degree. Therefore, it's 70p.
You understand? You see what I'm trying to say? I mean,
keep your graduate. That's you. Keep your graduate.
Exactly. So I think, and I'm glad. I think we're on the same page with this. I think it should be a way of me honoring my in-laws. It should be a way of saying, I'm coming into this home. I'm coming into this family with honor and talking of my appreciation. Because if you find a good, there's no.
That you amount to have value.
Exactly. So it's an honor when they hand you over their child. The moment they begin to talk about money, they begin to actually reduce a value. Yeah, that's what I'll say.
Okay. So with that being said, I would honestly, sometimes when I think about dowry, I try and, before I used to be like, okay, this is a ridiculous tradition. Like,
I'm not surprised.
I was like, it's ridiculous. Why should you bring, or why should you pay something? Or it's like you're giving, okay, yes, you're giving me away, but it feels like you're paying and whatnot. But like now, as I think about it, honestly, just like waiting for sex after marriage, it also actually does, it's fulfilling as a woman. Also, when you see your partner saying, "I want to do this for you," like I really love you and I want to, it's also a sign of responsibility for me when I see that in that line. When I see a man being, even if they are able to, there are some men who are still very negligent about this custom. For me, I feel when that comes from a man, there are question marks that come in, especially that is part of our culture. It's something that we found, and there is an essence behind it. So as I look at it now, it's really going that way and saying, I really like this woman who I've seen in your house, and I would like to take her up. But then also it's very important that we keep our customs, as traditions, for what they meant for. It's not a
for
business.
What they stand for.
You cannot start running business on dowry.
Right.
Yes. So with that being said, we are going to go into something very deep right now. Very, very traditional assumptions around sexual organs. Yeah. So in different cultures, there are different responsibilities that women need to alter. I'm not sure about the men, but
I will tell you.
Yes, please. So from a woman's side, I know that the different alterations that a woman has to do in order to make their sexual is better, maybe, or in order to, I don't know how I can explain.
Deform their private parts.
Yes. So in West Africa, we have a situation where you have genital ladies cut their sexual parts just so that the
Yes.
man have more satisfaction. And in our culture, we also have different ways of adjusting or altering our sexual organs. These are assumptions that are there, and they are situations where women are seen to not have been taught well when they do not have these
Have those
alterations.
adjustments. Yes.
Yes, and I would like to know what they do about this. What I don't know what they do on their own. Maybe they need to enlarge their sexual organs in a way or whatnot. So,
Yeah.
Coach Teddy, I'm going to give you this floor.
He doesn't seem to be with us.
He is.
Okay.
Coach Teddy has been married before, and I don't know if you are educated in this topic, but what say do you have about altering sexual organs? Does it make your marriage better? Does it make your sexual activities better?
Hey, let him go first.
Who's going to answer? Is it? That's really like. That's like. I thought she would take it first so that I could listen to her. I'm really keen to listen to it.
Okay, Auntie Fales, I'm going to hand over this question to you.
To me, look at how smartly he's handing it over to me. All right. So
Yes.
you were talking about how genitals, how women do different things to their genital parts in order to adjust for the man. So again, I
Yes.
want to remind us that, these things are done differently in different cultures. I know that there are cultures and countries where, for example, the clitoris is cut from the woman. And from some cultures, they say that so that she doesn't become sexually active, she just waits for the husband to come, and whenever he wants to have sex with her, he will have sex, and she will not have, participate in any way. She doesn't have to enjoy the process. But back home, coming back to Zambia, we know that here is different. That is done, I think, in other countries. No countries mentioned here, but we have read, I suppose, where clitoris is removed from a woman because the assumption is that if she remains with it, she's going to be all over, sleeping with other men. But then back home is different. The deformation we are talking about back home is where women pull the labia. If you want me to call it in Nyanja, I will, but I hope people on this platform will still pick it. So, but naturally, what is common back home in Zambia is where the women, whether young women or even older women, are expected to have longer libias. Okay, so now talking about, I'm happy that we're talking about assumptions, because now we are reading literature which says that if I, as a woman, I'm not comfortable pulling my labia, I'm not comfortable because I don't enjoy sex having pulled my labia, I do not have to. In the past, women were asked to do that for the man, because assumptions were that the man will enjoy sex more if the woman put their labia to a certain length. I just want us to also note something here. Talking about sex and organs, there are also places here in Africa where it is believed that for a couple to enjoy sex, the woman should be really wet. So much wet that if this woman is going to be touched by a man for them to have sex, the bed on which they are going to have sex should be wet. That's still here in Africa. Yes. But if you brought that to here, to Zambia, that Zambian, the Zambia, oh no, that's true. If you brought that woman back here, home to Zambia, the Zambian man will complain because he doesn't want his bed wet after making love to this woman. So I just want to point out again the fact that I'm happy. Somebody wants to run away here. Coach, I hope you're still there. So if you brought that myth to here, to Zambia, the Zambian man, because of the culture, remember we said that culture is a way of life.
Yeah.
So this man has been taught from the time he was a boy, even before he started having sex, making love, that this woman should be dry. You understand? So when we talk about adjustments to the labia, adjustments to the sexual organ in order to make the man happy, I want to say that yes, those assumptions, and I want them to be in bold, capital letters, and underlined that they are assumptions. Because now things are different. If you look at the cultures that we are learning from outside, we have gotten to a point where we learn that actually there are women that have no labia, longer labia at all, that are still enjoying sex where they are. European communities, for example, do not know. It's now that they're getting exposed to pulling labia, but they have lived knowing that a woman is still okay even without them, so they still enjoy sex even without labia. So yes, those are assumptions. And even here back home in Zambia, we still have couples that have the woman not having longer labia and are still enjoying sex. So I want to say that these adjustments to genitals should be optional. Even having worked with these women, the traditional counselors, I want to tell you that at the level we are now, even the traditional counselors know that they will not impose pulling labia on a woman if she's not comfortable, unless it's a choice she makes. She wants it because she feels she's going to look better, she's going to enjoy sex more with the labia. Let her do it. But not because the assumption is that sex will be better, the man will enjoy more when she has them.
Nice. It is very informative. Do you
Looking
have
in right
anything
now.
to say in reference to sexual organs being altered? Have you, in your tribe, you impose? Do you have any traditional
Norms.
norms that have to have you alter any sexual organs, be it a woman or a man?
Yes, I am Goni. I come from the eastern province of this country. And the
Mm,
first thing you will be taught as you grow up is to make sure that you have your labia pulled out.
mm,
That's why I'm pointing out that even with traditional counselors today, whether you're talking to a traditional counselor, we're talking to a medical doctor, whether you are talking to you as a young woman, know that that culture has been there. We can't run away from that fact. We have grown up
mm,
knowing that once you do that, you're a better woman. Even
mm.
where I come from, and I suppose even where you come from, Mwaka,
Yes,
they'll tell you as you grow that you need to adjust your genitals, your labia have got to come out so you can
yes.
make the man happy, not for yourself. Remember, it's not for
Mm.
yourself. It's so you can make this man you're getting married to happy. So the question there is, what is the man doing to make you happy?
Yes, that's what I wanted to ask Steady.
What
Do
is
you
this man you are getting married to doing to make you happy? If they're going to enlarge their penis, from what we have read now, the longer the penis, the lesser the friction. It's got to be natural, isn't it? So they're not going to do anything. So if they've got a smaller one, it's going to be small for the time you're going to be married. If they've got a large, I'm sorry, I'm going to be as honest. If they've got a medium or large one, it's going to be that size. They're not doing much to make you happy. So
yeah.
I just want to indicate this fact, especially that we have this platform. We may not have this topic again. You know,
Mm,
sex has so many dynamics. It has so many dynamics. People have labia and yet enjoy. Some do not have labia and still enjoy. If we ask the coach, he will tell you that there are certain things that you can do to just have, to just enjoy sex, and you don't have to. If I had a way, if I had to go back, I would just write a book and say everybody can only pull labia when they feel they should do it, or if it's going to be of benefit to them. Not that it's
things
culture, it should
very
be a
good.
way of life. Yeah, so let me end there for now. I don't want to go into, yeah, for now, let me end there. I want to
Yes,
be a good girl this evening.
we are running out of time, but Coach Steady,
I'm trying
I'm going
very
to
hard.
take from this one. And I'm going to go straight into the next assumption, which is assumptions about age. So it is seen according to our society that when an elderly man, maybe say somebody in his late 40s or mid 40s, marries someone young as maybe 20 years gap and all that, maybe 15 years gap, he is considered as a pedophile. And once a lady who's really young marries somebody who's way much older, she is considered maybe as a whore, or a gold digger, depending on the situation, So, what are your assumptions about age surrounding marriage? Is there really a specific age? Does it mean that perfect marriages will only be between people of the same age groups? Does it mean that it is a sin, or it is going beyond cultural or norms of the society if you married somebody older or younger by like a very big gap? So what do you have to say, Coach Steady, about this?
Well, I think I like to say that maturity does not come with age. Sometimes age comes along. You can be 50 and still be playing with your toys. You can be 25 and still building a brighter future, responsible and taking care of business. So sometimes I think age
You
is
people,
very
I'm so cold. I hope you're.
the man is way older than the woman. Usually is defilement. That's when they speak about it. But usually the issue. Some people don't, I wrote an article, I think it must have been 2 months ago. People don't realize that Bishop Jakes is younger than his wife. But they have a beautiful
Bishop
TD Jakes.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
So Bishop TD Jakes' wife is older than Bishop TD Jakes, and they have a better marriage. So when you look at marriage and a healthy relationship, we need to look at it as the person you're getting into the relationship with. It should be somebody you love and genuinely wants to be with. So if a woman is older than you and you have an agreement and she knows that she's gonna honor you and respect you as a husband, it's something that is workable. But if a woman doesn't like a man that is younger and give them the respect that they desire, because every man has got an ego, they want to be treated like a king, whether he's younger, whether he makes less money, he wants to be treated like a king and as a man. So each person that is getting into a relationship like that must have an understanding that if I'm going to marry someone who, for instance, I'll put it on the other side. If I'm an older guy and I'm marrying a younger girl, maybe I'm in my 60s or I'm in my 70s and I marry a girl who's 32, her sexual drive may not be at the same speed that in my 60s or 70s. So
there'll be load shedding.
I like that.
Yes.
So somebody must have an understanding. If you're marrying someone, you must understand that it's going to demand more. It's the same when a woman is older than the man. They have to have these conversations. Is this a man that you respect and you're going to honor them? Because you're not going to use the card when you get married to say, oh, after all, you are just a younger guy and I'm the woman. No, you can't do that. He's still going to be the head. Whether he's younger than you, he's still going to be the head of the family and the head of the home. I think people don't put the cost of their decisions. When you're making a decision about relationships, a relationship where the man is younger and the woman is older can survive, depending on the people involved in the relationship. So it's not a one size fits all. If the woman is mature enough to be able to say, this is the man I want to respect, it's gonna work. If the woman doesn't have the maturity, then it's gonna be a problem. And then also if a man also secure enough so that he doesn't feel like when she says something it's because she's older than him, then also that's another side of the coin to look at. Most of the times I think we get carried away by the butterflies. This is a butterfly generation. The butterfly no, and talk about relationships in the right context, so you don't jump in and begin to regret. No man that is intending to build a tower does not sit down and count the cost. If you're marrying someone who's old, I look at Bishop Jakes. People didn't know until we spoke about it.
Right.
Because And his wife says never in their, I don't know, maybe it's 33 or 34 years of marriage that she's ever called him by his
Has
first
she
name.
been demeaned?
She's never called him by his first name in all the
Right.
years of marriage.
They've been
So
married, yes.
he knows his place. So it has worked for them. But if you don't have their character, it may not work for you.
Yeah.
So I think for me, that's what I really say about that. When the relationship is pure, and we're also just talking about where some guys feel like, oh, I'll get another cheat and it's going to be a business transaction, because there are dudes out there that are lazy and weak out there. They're looking for somebody to take care of them. So that becomes a problem.
Auntie Fales, do you
Yeah,
have
right away.
about
Yes, so a pedophile or a pedophile, depending on who your headmaster was, if he was Tonga or Ngoni, a pedophile is someone who enjoys having sex with children. Okay? Yeah, depending on who your headmaster was. But what it means is that this person enjoys having sex with younger ones, with children, people who are way younger than him or than her, in case of us women. Now, I like it when coach says that it's straight on defilement, isn't it? Though now it has become very difficult to define it as defilement, because these same young women, we are quote unquote young women, are the ones who are actually exposing themselves, marketing themselves to these older men who want to experience things with them. I also like it, coach, when you say that the woman could be older and the man younger, though that's very rare in Africa. It's never appreciated. But when you say that Mrs. T.G. Jakes, for example, is older but still respects this man, if there's anything an African man values is to be treated like a king. They love it. They want to feel like one. They want to be treated like one. I'm happy that we are saying that even men beyond borders also feel like that. I'm happy to learn that. Now, having said that, being a whore or a pedophile, enjoying sex with a younger generation has always been seen as taboo. However, very few things now are taboo, with a lot of things changing. If you look at what is going on, so much has changed. In the past, if you see somebody, an older person coming your way, you would give them away. Even if, no matter how small the path was, to give the older man way, for example. Those are very basic things in life. But now it's not the case. If you feel you're older and there's a younger girl coming your way, you think they're going to give you away, watch the space, they'll bump into you. So that's how things have changed naturally. So that has gone even to extents of sex. People do not value age anymore. I know that there are even groups of women that are coming up with chilimba out of sexual activities. They don't work. They are students, but they're a group of 10, 15, and they sleep with men around. They are, if you have to define them, you define them as young girls, but no, they don't want to be young girls. So they are whores, if you like, but maybe if you got to interview them, they'll give you a different perception altogether. So a pedophile is someone who enjoys sex with younger ones. There could be a woman, it could be a man, but they enjoy sex with little boys. And that amounts already to, like you said, abuse. But maybe that should be a topic for another day, because also these same children we are calling children are the ones that are exposing themselves in different ways. They'll go to pubs where they find older men with money. They know where these people around, the big fish are found. They'll go and parade there, and they know what they're looking for. So it's very difficult to define this man who is drunk, who is picking up this woman to go and have sex with them, to define them as a pedophile, because then you also have to look at this girl who has exposed herself to this man.
Yeah, I think I like what you said. I know our time is not with us, but I would like to also just jump in on what you said. And like you said, this is a conversation for another day. I think I will never forget. I mean, I'm not a Bali. I'm not an older person. I'm 38.
Yeah, not yet. You're still okay. You're still very young.
but I think it must have been 3 years ago. I had a younger girl really make a very like a very strange kind of a move on me. I mean, I felt very undressed. I felt very
So you see,
so I really felt really like my heart wouldn't allow me just to look at this guy and says, really, why would you even think like that? I think this is also the place where we have to get back and have conversation with our younger women, especially the .com generation. There's too much, there's too much freedom with the younger women. They feel like they can talk to a guy that is older and
anyhow
feel like, hey,
they like.
no, I'm trying to say, I think there's a problem with that. So I think there must be responsibility. And then I think we've oversold sex in our generation. We feel sex is what drives everything. It's not what drives everything. So I think a lot of younger girls, we need to be taught, they need to be taught that, look, if a man is older, he's older. There must be a way, and also let's also speak to the men. If you see a woman that is younger trying to flirt with you, there should be something that annoys you inside of you. You must be offended. You must take offense that a younger girl, a younger sister, or a little niece
is telling themselves to them.
So I think there's also need to be a lot of responsibility from a man's perspective when it comes to these sexual issues. And I believe the context we are having this conversation, Mwaka, is a healthy relationship. That's my context. Yeah, that's my
to that.
So we have really gone over our time right now.
Way above time.
This was an amazing session, and I just want to say thank you to everybody who tuned in. Thank you to my amazing guests, Coach Steady. It's always a pleasure to have you. Auntie Fales, please, thank you so much for being with us and for freezing your legs right now.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Night, be blessed, and thank you everyone to those of you who tuned in, and please stay tuned for many other editions. Good night and see you soon.
Good night to you. Good night.
We ignored all the comments and the questions. Today we were so selfish. Sorry guys.
No, next time. We're really running out of time. Have a good night. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.